Hi everyone, hope you're doing okay and you had a nice break this week. So just to wrap up where we are, so I hope only if a few of you submitted the script, so please try to make it before the deadline, which is Tuesday midnight. Um, I have a couple of more assignments for you before we jump to the 3D layout of your film. So I'll be showing you this week how to process mocap instead of the C3D way that we did last time. I'll show you how to do it through skeleton. You can get mocap through skeleton with the joints, and you can process that. And I'll show you a bit of retargeting, how to transfer animations or mocap from one character to the other that has different proportions. So I'll be showing you that. And the following, I'll show you a bit of props and particles, and then we can start. We can start building your film, the previews for your film. So I've included a small sample file. So this file you can download. And it's the same file we did last time with the C3D, right? But instead of a C3D with the markers, it's going to be a skeleton. It's going to be joints. So the reason I want to use the same thing because I want to show you the difference between that and this. What kind of quality will you get? So it's downloaded, so we go in the download folder, we move that to D. Please keep working with D. I'll put it in downloads for now, and I'm going to open up another Motionbuilder, and I'll drag and drop this file in. Okay, so file open, alt takes. So it's the same take. You have Jeremy Carey 001 and I believe it's Tyra. Yeah. So this is the same. See, it's the same action. So I'll choose the same. I'll choose the same frames. When you open it, your frame rate will change to 120 FPS. So you could just switch to 30 to decrease the number of frames. Otherwise, you'll be dealing with a lot of frames, right? So we can switch that. Let's save this scene as week. Go in animations. I believe week 8. So week 8. Let's call it week 8. Mocap skeleton. And my name. We'll put 001. We can actually hide this character because we're not going to use him. So if you select the joints, or you go in here, you select Jeremy, select branches, and then if you click once in the viewport and go Control H, sorry, Shift H, you hide them. So we'll just focus on Tyra. So I'll drop it down to 300 with the same frames we used last time. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we need, remember, we're transferring from one character to the other. So we need to turn these joints into a character because right now we don't have any character here. So it's If you go in templates, character, drag and drop a character on the joints until one of them lights up or gets selected. Characterize, biped. So now we have a character in our scene and all the definitions are already set up. Okay. So I'm gonna rename this character to mocap. And we're ready to merge. If you get these little dots here, you can just hide them by going into the show hide, floor contacts. These are more advanced setup to actually, you can have a character collide with the grid. It's a bit more advanced. I'm not going to show you how to set it up because sometimes it interferes with your animation, so don't worry too much about it. So now we have our mocap character, and I'm gonna merge in the Ybot that I used last week, which should be in characters, right? Actor, I didn't save it. See, don't do the same mistake I did. Mix ammo maybe. That's right, he's here. Okay, so I'm gonna merge this into this scene. So Ybot merge. Merge with options. I just want to see if my options are plus, so I don't merge and overwrite something and already existing in the scene. And I will turn this off, the take, because I don't need, I want to use the take that's in here, right? So I'm not going to use any takes that's coming from Ybot. Okay, so turn it off and then merge. So now we have our character Ybot and the mocap. What I like to do, so now I'll call them Ybot just to make sure not to confuse anything. And control rig, I'll call it Ybot control rig, just to be a little bit organized. Okay, so now we want this character, the Ybot, to be driven by mocap. So all we need to do is change the source. So if I click on the source while I have Ybot character selected and change to mocap, as you can see, he will transition to the mocap. You can hide the joints of the Ybot so you don't get confused. So as you can see, he's starting to move already and being controlled by the mocap skeleton. So it's as easy as that, really. Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of the rigid body and the curves and everything. So what happens if you use this method, you will need to bake to skeleton or bake to control rig. First, bake to control rig, clean up the curves on the control rig, and that's how you clean it up, right? Because you can't really, excuse me, you can't really do much. You can't do the same thing as we were doing with the curves because we don't have the markers. If you remember what you guys did here. And you can't create rigid bodies because it's not the same. The input is actually this joint only, so you don't have any of these features. So as you can see, the quality is not too bad. If you press play, I'm gonna hide. So he's a little bit jerky, but overall it's not bad. So all we need to do is clean up those bits where he pops. So I'll show you how to do that. So as it is, I'm gonna try something super quick to mess with the reach, with the translation reach. As you can see, it's freaking out here, the one of the legs. So when you assign the source from another character, you have these kind of IK effectors here where you can play with some of the reaches. If you can see here, if I select the foot joint or the ankle of the character and I turn the IK off, you know, the IK blend translation, IK blend rotation, if I turn that off, you'll see there's a difference, right? So now if I play, the foot is kind of floating, right? So if I turn it back on, see, it's trying to follow what the mocap skeleton, as much as possible, it's trying to follow it. So that's what the IK gives you. IK, any kind of contacts, you will need these on. So as a default, you keep the pelvis and the 2 feet on, so you get as much precision of contacts from the mocap. What you can also try, if the toes are freaking out like this, you can try to turn on the toes IK. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't look like it worked in this case. So we're not going to turn it on. What we're going to do is going to bake to control rig and start cleaning up some of those pops. Okay? So right now the wipeout is controlled by the mocap character. So I'll bake to control rig, and then I can hide the actor. So I'll switch to mocap and hide the skeleton so it creates less noise. Okay, so right now it's ready to be cleaned. Okay, so what are we gonna do? First thing, I'll switch back to YBot. First thing is, as you can see, there's a lot of, whoops, selected the key by mistake. As you can see, there's a lot of pops sometimes on the pelvis, so I would start cleaning. Let me see, it's not that, okay, yeah, right here. Okay, so if we, normally you want to clean up the curves from parent to child. This way it's less work to do because you're cleaning from the parent to down the child. So I always start with the pelvis because that's going to affect everything. So if I click on the F curves and I select translation, you can see the curves and you can see where you can see where the pops happen and the jerks, see? So it's mostly in here in this region. So we can select both translation and rotation, or you could do it one at the same time. One at a time. And what do we do? There's something here called filters beside the asset browser. If you don't have it in as a tab, you can go to Window and bring it up in here. So Window Filters. Okay. I already have it, so it should show up either on a second window or show up in one of these tabs beside the asset browser. So in here, there's a bunch of properties. The one we're going to use right here, the filter, is called Butterworth. Okay. So if you select I believe you have to select the curve. I forgot, I haven't used this in a while. So let's try it as is. So you select the translation, you select Butterworth. We'll keep the default values that show up. And if you click preview, see, you already see a change in the curve. Okay, see, it actually cleaned up those pops. Okay, so if you like the result, just click accept. If you don't like the result, you want to push it a little bit further, you can increase the sampling time. So if you decrease the sampling time and click preview again, see, it actually deletes some frame. It cleans up really further on the curve. Okay, so try to just remove the pops without uh, uh, without destroying the original curve, because as soon as if you go too much with the cleanup, you're gonna lose some of the motion underneath. So clean up only what you need. So clean it up as much as little to remove the pops and maintain the original mocha. So I like what I did before. I'm gonna switch to translation. As you can see, there's a lot of pops on the translation. So I'm gonna choose Butterworth again. I'll keep the same values and click preview. So as you can see, it didn't clean up as good as the translation. So I'm gonna try to lower it down to, let's say, 22. Okay. I'll try a bit further down. Actually, if I go cancel, Butterworth 22 preview. Okay, it does the same thing. So try it lower. Let's say 17 or 16. It's not bad. So you can also, if you don't like these, let's say these curves, you can just click on the curve and delete it, just like that. So not on the curve, on the keys. Okay. Click accept. So now we have our pelvis cleaned up. So always preview what you did. See, the pelvis is not popping anymore. Now we're ready to do the feet. So I'll do the feet. See, I'm just doing on time because I still want to show you the retarget. Okay. So I'll do 1 foot to show you as an example. So as you can see here, this foot is disappearing. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the toe IK, okay, because for some reason it's turning backwards, and I think it's probably due to the FK controller. So if you turn on the IK on the toes, that doesn't solve it 100%, so we might have to clean it up with the keys. I believe if I turn it off here, it's weird because last time I'm gonna choose the other foot and try it on the other foot. No, same thing. So I tried it before and it worked. Okay, doesn't matter. Is it this? Hold on. Okay, let's work with this foot because it has probably worse issues. Yeah, let's do this one. We'll do this one. So it's okay up to, let's say, in here. Okay, so it breaks somewhere in here. By the way, before you go further into mocap cleanup, I would duplicate the take. The reason is if you go too far with the cleanup and you want to go back, you either have to undo or reopen the file. But if you create a take, if you go on Navigator, Takes, and you duplicate the take, now you have the original and the other take which you worked on. Okay, so you would name it something like was the original carry edit 1 or something like that. Okay, so this way you know you can work on this and keep the first one as the original. Okay, so I would like to fix this part first. So what's going on here is it should not go up that much, right? So what we can do, we could just delete some of the keys instead of using the Butterworth, because sometimes the Butterworth will not give you what you need. As you can see here, it freaks out. So you could try use Butterworth, but sometimes just deleting the keys is a bit simpler, right? So right now we don't see the keys here. You can either delete them in the F-curve, or if you grab the active time segment here, if you just squeeze it out down to, let's say, 300, that's when you can see keys already on the timeline. Okay, don't worry too much. You see keys here between the frames. We will fix that as soon as we finish the cleanup. But if you want to delete keys from the timeline, this is the way to do it. You squeeze down the active time segment, and that's how you see the keys. So let's say you go down to like 100 to 162, or maybe a bit more, and then you can move this around, or if you double click on it, it will give you back the whole timeline from 0 to 300. Double click on it again, it will give you the time segment that you specified. So as you can see here, the foot is going up, and it shouldn't, right? So we just want to delete these keys here. Okay, so if you delete a key, be careful what you delete, because if you're on full body, you're gonna delete a key on all the body parts. So I highly recommend you switch to body part. Now if you click on delete, it will only delete the key on that leg. Okay, so if you start deleting keys and the whole body shifts, that means you're on full body. Okay, so just make sure when you start deleting, you're on the body part. Okay, so it's good up until here, right? So it pops, so I can delete these keys up until here. So see, we kind of have a nice interpolation now. I still have a problem with the toes. I'm gonna try it again with the reach to see if it's gonna give me a better result. Anyways, this problem we might have to fix on a layer. I don't think we can tweak it, but we'll definitely just clean up the ankle effector. I think the knee pops here a little bit too, so we can definitely clean that up. So it pops on one frame, which is this. There we go. Pops again here, so we can delete this. And just keep going as you can move the active time segment here to see the next keys. And I think the motion is she's going up and then she pops back down, so we can start deleting these keys to keep the leg moving forward. Okay, so I believe we can keep this key and delete everything else behind it. So that's it. Let's try to fix the toe. Is it okay after? Okay, after it's still popping, so let's continue. I want to show you how to probably clean up all this mess here up until it's okay. So she lifts a leg and she plants it, but it starts freaking out here, so we can start deleting here all the way up until let's see where we have a good frame. Well, this is a good frame, but it's way too far. So what are we gonna do here? We're gonna keep the foot stationary, right, up until she lifts it, which is somewhere around here. Okay, so we can delete all these keys. What you can do now, because the foot is in IK, you can copy this key, go to this frame and paste it. So what happens now, it overshoots for a simple reason, because the interpolation between these two keys is not linear. So we can easily change this. If you select these two keys and right click, interpolation, right now it's smooth, so it's overshooting. You set it to linear, now it stays on the spot. So because this frame and this frame is the same, it doesn't shoot anymore because we changed the interpolation to linear. Okay, so we can delete all these too. We don't need them. And these ones. So let's see what that looks like. It's already a lot better, see? So it's kind of blending out super slow. So you have a couple of options here. You can take this key and make it planted for later, right? So if you move the key, the foot is going to stay planted till later. Or you can start moving it earlier by moving the key earlier. Okay, see what's going to happen? So you can start playing with the timing of the foot. If you don't like it, let's say it's too slow or too fast. So because you've deleted a bunch of keys, now it's way easier to manipulate. Okay, so that's how you can, so a combination of the pelvis, you can use the Butterworth, combination of selecting the key or the foot, deleting the keys, and using, if the foot is planted, just copy the key from one frame to the other and change the interpolation. I'll show you what you can do with the arm. The arm is a bit more tricky. Right now the arm is in FK, so if you want to see the curves, on it, you will need to switch it to IK. So if you switch to IK, I'll show you the difference. So if you try to move these keys here, which is on this frame, see, nothing happens. See, you can delete the keys, it will update. But if you try to update the F curve, it won't change. Because why? Because the skeleton, the arm is using FK right now, and it's not IK green like the feet. So in able to modify the F curves, you'll have to change it to IK. So now if you select those keys and you move them, see, now it starts moving. You can still delete the keys in the viewport, sorry, in the timeline. So let's say we're gonna move back a little bit. Yeah, it pops here, see all this popping. You can probably delete these. So actually the spine is popping too, so if you want to delete the spine, you'll have to turn it to IK as well to be able to see the curves here. You can definitely use Butterworth if you want. Smooth it out a little bit, not enough though. But I believe it's still popping, yeah. So we'll just zoom in on those keys and see where the pop happens. Happens somewhere here. So you can delete those keys. Make sure in body part. Same thing with the head, if you notice. So I won't go too much into the cleanup process because it's going to take me over an hour. So you can definitely delete. See, I just deleted the keys on the head without switching to IK. Switch to IK only if you want to delete the keys in the F curve. Okay, but you can still delete the keys on the timeline here. Okay. So you have the choice, right? So you can delete whatever you need to delete in here, or keep. See, here is switching back. And you can continue cleanup. Just a second. So you can continue cleanup. Like I said, I'm not gonna clean up the whole thing because it takes a bit of time. That's again, the spine here is popping. I'll stop the cleanup right now, and I want to show you what you do after you cleaned it up, cleaned up those 300 frames. So again, clean it up as much as you can. It has to be super smooth. As you can see the difference now between the right leg and the left leg. Do cleanup on each body part, the legs. Start with the spine. Sorry, the pelvis. the spine, the head, then the arms, and then the legs. Okay? And use a combination of deleting keys, Butterworth, and the F-curves. Okay? So after you cleaned up all the body parts, we're ready to bake to skeleton, okay? Because I want to show you how do you load this motion on another character. So right now we're working on the control rig. We need to bake to skeleton. So you bake to skeleton, and then you bake back to control rig to remove the keys between the frames, right? So because as you can, if you remember before, we had keys between the frames, and we don't want that. Okay. Still the same result. So we bake to skeleton, and then bake back to control rig. Okay. So now we can save this clip and load it on another character. So I'm gonna save it. You can save it through here, File, Save. And I'm gonna save it in animations. Actually, I'll save it in, yeah, you can save it here. You can create another folder called anim clips. You'll understand in a little bit why I called it anim clips. So call it Jeremy Carey 001. Which take do we want to save? We want to save the edit one. Okay, save. So let's say you have another character in another scene. You want to bring in this exact mocap that you just cleaned. Okay, but let's say the other character is shorter. Okay, so if you click in here, there's a couple of extra characters in here in the asset browser tutorials. I'm specifically going to use Pepe because he's way shorter than this, so you guys understand how to load up on a different character and how to do it properly because of the different proportions. Okay, so I'm going to merge him in. Merge options plus. We don't need to merge any animation, so I'll take this off. So he's really short, as you can see, and his name is Pepe. So what are we going to do with Pepe? I'm going to load that mocap that I saved and load it on him. Okay, character animation in story mode. Okay, and I'm going to assign it to Pepe. And if I right click, insert animation file, we saved it in animations, sorry, animations, anim clips. See, this is the reason anything you save outside of your previous scene, it's better to save it in a folder called clips, because you know that these are the clips that you bring in inside story. So you'll separate the working cleanup mocap files from the clips, so you stay a little bit organized. So I'll load this in, and let's see what it looks like. So at first glance, everything looks okay, but as you can see, there's some problems with the arms. Because he's a lot shorter, his arms are different. First, let's put this at 0, 0, so we have the exact frames. And I will move Pepe with the story clip a little bit to the side so you guys can see the difference. Okay, so as you can see, the arms are passing through. Some of the arms are hyperextended, all that lovely stuff. Okay, so you can continue like this, but you can have way better results than this. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off this clip. I'm gonna turn off story mode, and I'm gonna show you how to retarget. It's the same technique we use from the mocap actor to him, but we're gonna transfer from the Ybot to Pepe, and then save the animation and load it on him separately. The reason is we're doing this is if you go in Pepe, right now he's being controlled by his own skeleton, right? I want to control him, or the input should be Ybot. Okay, so now we have the exact same setup from the mocap actor to Pepe. Okay, you will get the benefit of this is, as you can see, the arms are still passing through, but what you could do is you can modify these arms now. So if you select the arm and play with the reach, you can have a different result. See? It completely changes the motion on Pepe instead of what we had before. If you remember what we had before, if I switch back to none, which is the skeleton of Pepe, and I turn on the story mode, this is what we get. See, this is the same frame with the arms going through his body. If we switch back to Ybot and turn off story mode, this is what we get. See, you control, you're retargeting from the Ybot to Pepe with these controls on top. So you get way better data than just loading the clip from the Ybot to Pepe. Okay, I know it's a little bit confusing. It's just, think about it as this one gives you more control on the limbs, on the arms and everything. So if your character is the same, let's say the same height as Ybot, just use the clip as is. But if you have another character that's way bigger or way shorter than Ybot, use this retargeting technique. Okay. Also, the advantage of this is you can keyframe these. So let's say at some point, during the walk he's fine, but then at one point where he's touching the table, the arms get hyperextended, or they start freaking out, the arms. You can keyframe what's going on here on the arms. Is it not changing? Yeah. Okay. So here, as you can see, so let's say it's at 100%. it's hyperextended. You can control it, you can relax the arm by just keying the values. So let's go back to where it was okay. Yeah, I didn't clean up this part, so that's why it's popping. Okay, so in here, I don't know if the other arm is better. Just trying to find a spot where we can key it to get the effect that we want. I think there was a part here. Okay, so let's say in here we fixed it, right? We fixed the arm so that it doesn't pass through the body. Well, here the thumb passes, so you'll have to fix the thumb on a separate layer. It's fine up to here. And let's say at 153, if we remove the reach, it's a bit more relaxed. Yeah, he has a lot different proportion than the Y, so I chose the extremes. So anyways, if you want to experiment with animating the reach, so let's say at this point you're happy with the result, you key it right here, and then you go to the frame where you want to remove or increase or reduce, and you just key it again. So now if you click on, you can see the keys if you highlight the IK blend translation or rotation. So we just keyed the values going from 40 or 39 down to 0 on this frame to get a better visual on the arm, okay? A better retarget on the arm. So that's how you retarget from one character to the other if the proportions are really different. Try not to use the you can use the clip as is from Ybot to a shorter or longer character, but it's better to use this way, the retarget from character to character. Okay, so so the assignment is clean up the mocap on the Ybot and then retarget it on Pepe. You can use the same characters. There's a bunch of other characters here, but they're all kind of similar. This guy is short, so either use Pepe or Gremlin. And once you're done tweaking these values of the effectors, bake to skeleton again on Pepe. And when you bake the skeleton, now you can save it. And load it on your scene where Pepe exists in the layout and everything, whether he's alone or with another character. So now if I will show you the difference. So let's say on the walk, so let's take frame 64 as an example. Okay, frame 64. I'll take a screenshot to compare the difference between these two clips. So remember, this clip is from Ybot as is. Okay, I'm going to delete it and merge in, sorry, insert animation file, Pepe. So this is the retargeted version after. So if I go to frame 64, I'll move this clip a little bit to the side so we can see and compare before. This is, see, this is the difference. You get better motion, better, there's no penetration with the arms because we fixed it with these. Okay, so that's it. You can try as well if you want to experiment after you've compared the YBot to the previous assignment. You can try as well. I'm gonna try something quick. You can try to control or change the sort to mocap directly. This might give the same idea. Yeah, you could do it that way too. The reason I chose YBot is because I wanted to compare the method we used last time. Okay, so you can definitely when you bring in the mocap, remember this skeleton, these joints from the Jeremy Carey, this one, the original. When you bring this in, you can assign it to Pepe right away. So you can skip the YBot completely, but I used the YBot just to compare with the previous assignment with the markers. Okay, so definitely if you want to skip the YBot, you could. I don't mind. As long as you clean it as much as you can. Clean it as much as you did a good job with the previous assignment. I don't want to see any big pops. I'll be grading you on pops and stuff like that. So assignment again, just to make sure, the grading, applying the mocap on a character using skeleton retarget, clean in mocap we're using Butterworth filter, IK on feet and other body parts, and retargeting on a smaller or bigger character. Choose Pepe, I don't mind, it's there, it's going to be easy in the tutorials folder right here. Don't have to get something from Mixamo, just use either Gremlin. Gremlin is the same, is a bit taller than Pepe, so you can either use Gremlin or Pepe. So 60, 30, and naming of the file. Good. I'll see you guys Wednesday. Hope you have a good weekend.